Welcome to our course on how to develop a logistics solution in the European single market post-Brexit. I am Paul Bartholomew, Logistics Director of Aerospace. The UK's exit from the European single market has created logistical challenges for many British businesses, requiring a radical redesign of pre-Brexit distribution networks. In this course, we illustrate how these challenges can become opportunities for growth. This course will give you the foundations for your goods-to-market strategy, creating new certainties for future growth and prosperity. At the end of the course, you will have a thorough understanding of how to distribute your products in the single market. We will also look at fiscal elements such as valued added tax, duty, rules of origin, and customs procedures. We will introduce the principal elements of a logistics strategy for delivering your products to both your European business customers and the individual end users efficiently, promptly, and with the same transparency as before Brexit. These include your storage, packaging, inventory systems, transport, and oversight. The important thing to remember is that after Brexit, the European market is no longer a domestic one, but international. The knowledge that you will acquire in this course is part of a skill set that you can expand into other international markets such as the USA, South America, India, and the Far East, with a global reach. I am pleased to introduce Catherine will take over for this next part. So without further ado, let us begin.
We will start with a brief overview of the impact of Brexit on European logistics. Next, we will look at changes in regulations, followed by a look at the impact of Brexit on customs and border controls. We will examine differences between trading with the EU pre- and post-Brexit. Then we will consider if you need to make organizational changes by assigning new roles. The new realities require strategies for adapting to the new warehousing and delivery landscape and complying with the new fiscal representation requirements. And finally, the function of software in managing third-party logistics. First, we consider the role of logistics and its importance in business flows. Logistics is a crucial element in any marketing strategy. It ensures the efficient movement of goods, optimizes your supply chain, and helps meet customer expectations of quick delivery. It also helps a business stay competitive by being responsive to demand. Logistics is a critical element in a goods-to-market strategy because it ensures the efficient movement of goods from the point of origin to the point of consumption. A company seeks to get its products to market as quickly and cost-effectively as possible. Logistics plays a key role in achieving this goal by managing the transportation, storage, and distribution of goods. Effective logistics can help a company to optimize its supply chain and reduce costs by minimizing transportation time and reducing inventory levels. This, in turn, can help the company to increase its competitiveness and profitability. Logistics is also important in your goods-to-market strategy because it helps to ensure that your products are delivered to your customers in a timely and reliable manner. This can help to build your customers' satisfaction and loyalty, which are critical to your long-term business success. Finally, logistics is important in your goods-to-market strategy because it can help your business respond quickly to changes in demand or market conditions. This flexibility is crucial in today's rapidly changing business environment, where companies must be able to adapt quickly to remain competitive.
Post-Brexit, there have been significant changes in trade regulations. The most significant change is that the UK is no longer part of the EU Single Market and Customs Union, which means that there are new customs procedures and tariffs that we need to comply with when trading with the EU. One of the most significant changes is the introduction of customs declarations for goods traded between the UK and the EU. This means that we must now submit customs declarations when exporting goods to the EU, and EU traders must do the same when exporting goods to the UK. This has led to increased administrative burden and costs, as we need to ensure that we have the necessary customs documentation and comply with all the relevant regulations. There are also new regulations on goods that are traded between the UK and the EU, including new product standards and rules of origin requirements. We now need to ensure that our products meet the relevant standards and regulations to be able to trade with the EU, and they also need to comply with rules of origin requirements to ensure that our products qualify for preferential tariffs. Another significant change is the introduction of new tariffs for goods traded between the UK and the EU. This means that we now need to factor in the cost of tariffs when trading with the EU, which can impact competitiveness and profitability. Leaving the single market means that there is a disconnect between our customs framework and that of the European Union. The EU Union Customs Code, UCC, is a comprehensive set of rules and regulations that govern the customs procedures for importing and exporting goods within the single market. The Union Customs Code sets out the procedures and requirements for customs declarations, the calculation of customs duties, the use of customs procedures and systems, the management of customs debts and penalties, and the control and inspection of goods entering or leaving the EU. It is the legal framework for the collection and sharing of customs information, and for cooperation between customs authorities in different EU member states. The UCC also facilitates the movement of goods within the EU and reduces the administrative burden for businesses by simplifying customs procedures and reducing paperwork. If, for example, you are shipping goods from Germany to France within the European Union, you generally do not have to clear customs, as both countries are part of the customs union. This means that there are no customs duties or taxes on goods traded between EU member states. Overall, the procedures for shipping goods within the EU are generally straightforward and simplified compared to shipping goods outside of the EU, where customs clearance is typically required. Since the United Kingdom left the European Union on January 1, 2021, it is no longer bound by the EU Union Customs Code and has implemented its own customs rules and regulations. However, the UK has adopted many of the same or similar customs procedures and systems as the EU in order to facilitate trade and minimize disruption to businesses. The UK has implemented its own customs code, known as the UK Trade Tariff, which is similar in structure and content to the EU's tariff schedule. The UK Trade Tariff sets out the customs procedures and requirements for goods entering or leaving the UK, including the calculation of customs duties, the use of customs procedures and systems, and the management of customs debts and penalties. While the UK has implemented its own customs rules and regulations, it still needs to comply with international customs standards and regulations set by bodies such as the World Customs Organization, WCO. As such, there are many similarities between UK customs procedures and those of other countries around the world, including the EU. Overall, while the UK has implemented its own customs rules and regulations, it still follows many of the same or similar principles and procedures as the EU Union Customs Code.
Next, we are going to look at who does what and the roles they play. There is considerable overlap in the parts different actors play in an integrated logistics system. Freight forwarders, customs brokers, truckers, couriers, and warehouse operators all have specialist skills, from small local businesses and agency networks to large corporations operating on a global scale. You will need help in integrating your business in the single market or any overseas venture.
When establishing a foothold in a new market, it is a good idea to use a freight forwarding agent to move us into that market. What exactly is a freight forwarding agent? It is not a term we come across often, but it is a profession that underpins the global economy, as important as law and finance. A freight forwarding agent is a person or company that arranges the transportation of your goods from one place to another on your behalf. They act as an intermediary between the shipper or exporter and the carrier or importer, ensuring that your shipment reaches its destination in a timely and cost-effective manner. Freight forwarding agents handle all aspects of the transportation process, including the preparation of necessary documentation, the booking of transportation services, and the coordination of customs clearance. They also negotiate preferential rates with carriers, track shipments in transit, and provide logistics support. In addition to arranging transportation, freight forwarding agents may also offer additional services such as warehousing, insurance, and packaging. They are experts in international trade regulations and can advise you on customs requirements, tariffs, and other legal issues related to the shipment of goods across borders. In short, The role of a freight forwarding agent is to simplify the complex process of international shipping so you can focus on other areas of your business. These are explained in the notes to the course and refer to third-party logistics and common carriers. Freight forwarding and logistics are closely related, but they are not the same thing. Freight forwarding is a subset of logistics, which refers to the overall management of the supply chain, including the transportation, storage, and distribution of goods. Logistics, on the other hand, encompasses a broader range of activities related to the management of the supply chain. This includes not only the transportation of goods, but also the management of inventory, warehousing, order processing, and distribution. While freight forwarding is focused primarily on the transportation of goods, logistics involves a more comprehensive approach to managing the entire supply chain. A logistics provider may offer a range of services beyond freight forwarding, including inventory management, order fulfillment, and supply chain optimization.
That is the end of the first lecture. We will now do a short quiz to test your learning. In the next lecture we will dive into a case study of a real-life scenario of a British company adapting its logistics system to accommodate the changes in the new trading reality. Catherine and I will see you in lecture 2.